going on. So do you not have heat inside there, or you just don't have the heat up yet, or what's the deal with that?
Yeah, no, it's heated. There's heat
You
up
just
here.
been outside in the cold all day and you're freezing.
Yeah, dude, when I got here, it was like 38 degrees or something like that.
Wow.
And then it dropped. It got up nice and warm. It was nice and warm this afternoon. It was like sweatshirt weather. And then it got real cold again. And we were doing a light job. And it went a lot longer than we anticipated. But anyway, I was out.
If it was that job you showed me, that I mean, granted, I don't know squat about the lights and all that kind of stuff, but that looked like it would have been an easy job, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was fairly easy, right, to ladder up to the peaks and stuff like that. The shingles, though, like in Connecticut, the shingles are really stiff, and it was real hard.
Because they're so cold.
Yeah, and we were trying new clips this year, these new tough clips, and I'm not a fan of them. They're real hard to put in.
Now, so are you up there specifically to do a light job, or why are you in Connecticut?
No, so this is technically like our 11th location, right? So we're just training the general manager up here. So we're doing light installs. This is like my third week of training for this location. And we're basically training from the general manager to the assistant tech to higher management type stuff. But it was like a full thing, right? Setting up the location, doing the sales, showing them the marketing material, putting out the yard signs, launching holiday lights, launching roof cleaning, all in like 3 weeks.
God, and I can actually say I knew you when you were in a U-Haul.
Yeah. I know it. It kind of looks like I came from a U-Haul. I mean, I got a hat on.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, guys, our guest tonight, if y'all we all started bantering here, but our guest tonight is Pat Clark, and again, if you don't know Pat, it's hard to be in this industry and not know Pat. And if you're in this industry, Pat Clark is somebody you should know, because I mean, I'm proud to call you a friend. You're somebody that you and I started about the same time. I think you and I have watched each other,
grow and blossom,
scale, blossom. You've obviously blossomed a lot more than me. I'm just amazed. I got a couple of years on you, and I'm old and I'm slow. And I swear if I had that 10 years back, I'd be kicking your butt.
Yeah, you would.
But I'm so proud of you, Pat, and I've enjoyed our time teaching together. And I know that you give good information and you believe in your messaging, and just guys, Pat Clark, I can't say enough good things about him. So please, y'all listen to Pat tonight. Whenever you're hearing this on the rebroadcast, Pat's where it's at,
I appreciate that, man. I mean, just learning from all you guys, you know what I mean? Like little bits here and there and just putting them into action. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm not smart by no means, you know what I mean? Like, I could work hard and I could just grow off the backs of giants, right? Like from everything we pick up at conferences and all that stuff, I think that's where I have the grit, right? Of like, when it's gonna, I don't know, when things hit the fan, right? It gets ugly, I just keep pushing.
Well, so many of us can sit here and talk about theory and talk about what happens and talk about, but whenever the bullet hits the bone, it really has to do a lot with the tenacity and the getting out and doing stuff. It's real easy to talk about what should be done, and Doug, I don't mean to leave you out of this at all, because all three of us have been in bad situations financially where it took getting out and getting stuff done.
If you don't Goya, you're leaving. You're doing yourself an injustice. Is all you're doing.
The rubber's got to meet the road at some point. You can sit here. I mean, I have guys that come into this store every week that tell me what they're going to do. I don't see always going to do it. I don't see, the ones that are doing it aren't telling me what they're going to do. They're just doing it.
Yeah.
And
I would imagine, Pat, it'd be the same thing for you, where you get these phone calls all the time from people, and you sit there and you talk to them, and I know I have a guy that I really like him as well, and I've gone further with him than I probably should have or would have, But I finally told him, you ask me the same questions every single year, and you're obviously not, you when I ask you what are you doing, well, I'm gonna do, but you're never doing, right? So
Right. Don't you tell me what you did.
yeah,
No, don't tell me what which is kind of like a coaching group where that's where a coaching group really kind of comes into effect, to somebody to actually hold you accountable for what you're saying you're gonna do.
Yeah.
Well, let's see where you did that this week.
And that goes.
So what's your biggest take on coaching, Pat?
Mine?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, I was on the coaching side, right? Been coached, and then I was the coach. I mean, hands down, coaching is a necessity, I feel like, especially in business, right? Because we get beat up all the time as business owners, and you don't have a boss that is like looking from the outside and guiding you, right? Because when you're in the weeds, and you get stuck, and you can get in your head, and you can, do so many things, especially in the beginning days. I know I had a lot of hats I had to wear. And I wasn't doing things like tracking the numbers. I wasn't, I was putting out marketing material, but I just wasn't tracking it. I wasn't seeing what, was working and what wasn't working. I was going off of my gut, right? And so with coaching, it's taking the emotion out of it. It's running your business on systems, right? And then there's principles in there. There's strategic things we do inside of marketing, inside of management, right? Spreadsheets, all that. So my personal opinion on coaching is like, I wish I did it sooner, right? It was like, why am I trying? And I go back and forth with this all the time, is like, why am I trying to do it alone? Like, is it an ego thing? Is it like, I want to do it, I want to say I did it?
It's why we don't get off the truck.
Yeah, this is true, because nobody can clean better than me.
That's it.
Right? And it's a
nobody cares as much as I do.
Exactly. And it's garbage, right? It's all up here. It's all that garbage that we, somehow, some way it was, put into us. But the fact of the matter is, like, I can go so much further with like you two, right? Like, we can reach more people together than we can individually, right? And like, same with our business. We can just, it's like good deed tokens. Like, that's what money is, right? Is good deed tokens. And so, like, if you can multiply that by putting people in place, or having a coach, or doing it, partnering with somebody, right? We don't have all the answers. Like, I have a lot of imperfections, right? Like, I fail every day, but I'm improving, right? And I'm putting people that I think that are good role models in my life to be able to just pour in good food into my brain, so then I can produce better each day. And so, yeah, coaching, I think, is hands down where you need to be. If you're not being coached, you need to be coached, right? And I'm constantly looking for people that can pour into me, not just one, right? Many people.
Right.
Yeah, there's so much out there that can be done, and that, you don't have any idea about. Even like when we go to conventions and stuff, and you go in and you sit there and you say, I'm in this great place in my business. I got all this stuff going on. I'm on the top of the world in my business, but yet you still go and you sit down in those groups and in those classes and those things, and you pick up those little bit of nuggets. And to me, that's even the classes that you're going to within the conventions are like coaching things for me, right? So you can go in there and you can kind of listen and get somebody else's perspective. And believe it or not, even bad information can be a good coaching tool, as long as you recognize it as bad information.
Right. Yeah. Maybe that's our new business model. We just give really, really, really bad information to everybody, and see who picks it up. And we know the ones that don't pick up that it's bad information, that, they're going to fail.
Ryan Crowley, I think this is a good point to what I think is it's a reality, but it's also a mindset, right? Where he says it's an I can't afford it kind of thing. And that's what a lot of people tell themselves, or they feel like, or whatever. And it's like, yeah, that's okay. I'm having trouble affording that, but not knowing where you could be at with just a little bit of information from somebody that, and here's one of the things I'll throw out there too, because I've had some phone calls. Oh yeah, I tried this guy as a coach or that guy's, whatever. And it wasn't working out. It wasn't working out. And talking about a group or this group or that group. It's like, dude, just ask for a change of a coach. I mean, if you don't get along with somebody for one reason or another, it doesn't mean that they're not coaching you correctly or whatever. It just means that maybe you're just not meshing, and maybe you just need a different kind of a coach, kind of a thing.
I'll give you a great example where and Mitchell brings up a great point here. I couldn't afford it either. Best decision I made it work. It's well paid off, so far. I did holiday lights, and I did holiday lights back in 2015 or so, when they were really just becoming a thing. And I still remember, I mean, we had a choice of white incandescent, white LED. LEDs were so expensive back then.
Mm-hmm.
Colored incandescent or colored LEDs. And that was also that 2014, 2015 was whenever spray wash really started blowing up. I mean, that was whenever we went from, that $500,000 to $750,000 level right there. I enjoyed doing the holiday lighting, and we did that for like 4 years. A coach would have actually said, you're an idiot and stop this, because you're making either you need to separate this off into a separate division and hire for it, or you need to get rid of it and cut it. And I probably would have cut it after the second year had a true business coach looked at that and said, because you know what? Yeah, you might be doing $50,000, $60,000 a year, but look at the wash opportunities you're missing. Look at how it's stressing your crews out. Look at the problems that it's causing in, you yourself. Is it really making any extra money for you? And that's sometimes where we need that third party arbiter to come in and go, mm-hmm. Yeah, you're doing it, but is it the highest and best use of? And we finally, after 3 years, we go, okay, we're now washing all the way through December. We're busy all the way through. It's an inconvenience to actually do lights for us at this point. We're in Florida. It's now becoming our commercial relationships with the universities, and it was always that December, because classes would stop like December 10th or something. So we'd have the whole month of December to wash for the universities. And Thanksgiving weekend was a huge wash, weekend for us. And it just became
to distract.
Distraction,
I was pig-headed, and I kept doing it 2 years too long.
Yeah.
What was your biggest distraction, Pat?
Mine?
Yeah.
So in the very beginning, right, I was doing everything, right? I was doing mold remediation, I was doing soft washing, and then we were doing like hot water pressure washing. And I was doing whatever it took to put food on the table in the beginning, right? Mm-hmm. And I get pretty intense about this, but like it's the money thing, right? I spent my last $4,000, literally my last $4,000 that was in my bank account on a coach. And I went all in, right? And that next January, I had a marketing system. I had some internal systems in the business, and I had a track record, if you will, a blueprint. And so I went after it, and I condensed. I cut out mold remediation because I was spreading myself way too thin. I was just Pat can only push the ball so far each time, and so when I get in the mold remediation truck, everything else would die down. So I went all in on one thing, on soft washing, and that made a world of difference, right? Then I was able to hone in my marketing. I was able to dial in it was like 4 flyers before we really nailed it in. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to track things and not have 3 different marketing streams, right? That I could really, put pennies on each one at that time, right? And I was only doing 1,000 flyers per, service. And so those were big distractions. I was just trying to put money on the table, whatever it was, however it came. Like if you wanted me to wash your car, I'd wash your car. But right. I wasn't the expert in my field, right? I wasn't like going all in on one thing. And so we do lights now, but we do lights in different locations because we're not washing all year round, right? So it makes sense for us when washing stops basically in October, November, December. We're doing Christmas lights. It's a good change for our guys. And so it works out really, really well. But I would say those were my biggest distractions in the very beginning. And then as I grew the locations, I just was all in, really. You know what I mean? After that, because I was like, I just need to make this work. And so anything that came in, I was like, stay in your lane, stay in your lane. Because we're crazy entrepreneurs, right? We're like, squirrel, we're like, oh, floor coatings, right? Yeah. And whatever it is, we're like, oh, I could do that, right? And you're like, well, nope. And you got to have that little voice in your head saying, nope, stay in your lane, right? And it's just do the course. And it's tough. Don't get me wrong, because, when I got up to the $1.4 million, like the business was running by itself. We had managers in place. In my time, you kind of find yourself like, okay, what do I do now?
Right.
I'm not doing anything anymore. Right. And so that's where Sales Boost came into play, right? Started Sales Boost. And I think I started something else too. I can't remember. I know I started Gutter Butter for the kids, but then they, that was them. And I was like, you guys got to do it. I can't do it. Right. Yep. And so those things came about but it was a great avenue, right? We're Sales Boost, like we got to teach them, everybody the system and stuff. And it worked for all our dealer models. They would come every year for Sales Boost. So I wouldn't say that was a distraction, but it definitely, took me away from that, as I still had manager meetings and stuff. And when I had to get back in the field, it was like, nope, that's not my role anymore. Like
but they also say if you ever want something done, give it to a busy person to do it. I've heard that axiom before, because busy people find a way to do it. It's the people that are slow. They have all the time in the world to get it done, but they don't wind up getting it done sometimes,
Yeah.
But, Pat, and I don't mean to tell the world too much, but I mean, I know, some conversations that you've had, and I remember being on the phone with you one night for about, 3 hours, COVID period. And just because, you're on top of the world at one point, things can change, and things can change real suddenly, as it did for a lot of us. And I think that's part of, you used to always say this word, and I'm going to be completely honest. I cringed every time you said this word, but pivot.
I knew pivot was coming.
Pivot. I just, stop saying pivot. But it's true, though. I mean, you had to get out there and reinvent Pat Clark, and you had to reinvent Precision, and you had to do a major pivot in 2020, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
As a lot of us did. I mean, all of us did. I mean, I know we were 20% off, that year.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we didn't know what to do, right? And I'm looking and I'm like, crap. Like we're in this leadership position and everybody's looking at us. We're like, okay, like what do we do? You know what I mean? They didn't want to come into work. They didn't know if we can go to customers' houses. It was like this big thing, right? And I'm like, oh crap. And they're looking to me and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. Like, what do you do? Right? So I'm like, well, let's go clean playgrounds. You know what I mean? Get on the news. Let's try to figure something out. And that's where we did the whole sanitation. And then everybody was doing the whole,
we were doing we did a lot of sanitizing, and found out that was going to be, found out really and truly that for COVID, probably that wasn't the best thing in the world to do. Hindsight being 2020, kind of like a vaccine. But, was that my outside voice again? Damn it.
Outside voice.
But we all had to change, and then I know you're residential a great deal, and so we saw so much in the market though so then the residential kind of took off at the end of that year, and it was crazy because people were quarantined and working from home, and it was all of a sudden our residential went through the roof. However, we were extremely heavy in the commercial. We fell off from that $1 million that year to like 820, thousand. So we were about an 18%, fall off in revenue on that, because our commercial places were pulling back on every single aspect. They hadn't done the PPP stuff yet. They hadn't done any kind of government help on there. But then we saw in 2021, literally a 400,000, which, you know, at that point, if you go from 800 to 400,000 on top of that, a 50% upswing on there. I mean, so you're going from 800 to, you know, I'm sorry, it's a 500,000, 1.3 million in sales. And it was like, oh crap. I mean, it's damn near 100%, but it's, you know, 80% uptick in your sales right there. And now suddenly you've got to do some serious juggling and figuring it, you know, out.
I'm not going to say that COVID, you know, took out or didn't take out people that deserve to stay in the game, if you would. But to me, COVID did kind of show the metal for the man kind of thing, because same scenario where, you know, when that first happened and we shut down the company, we shut down for one day. And I'm like, there's no way I can do this to my employee. I can't.
Right. Yeah.
What do? We clean. That's what we do. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm like, everybody goes to work. We're going to sit down. We're going to figure it out. We spent the day at the, you know, day number 2 at the shop. And I'm like, we're going clean stuff. And so, you know, we had contracts already in place, things already in place. And we started showing up and people were like, yeah, okay. Yeah. And it was so amazing for me because I thought for sure, and I sat down with my guys and I said, look, residential is going to die. Let's just face it. Nobody wants us, right? So residential is going to die. Our commercial is going to go through the roof. We're really going to be pushing that. You know, boy, was I so wrong in that, where the commercial just died and just like you're saying, and then the residential just started going up and up. And we didn't stop because we're an essential business. Yeah. So I had other people contacting me that were not in the wash industry, and they're like, well, what do you think we can do? What can we do? And I'm like, if you're a business owner, you're an essential business. I mean, to a certain degree, you have to find, it's up to you to decide, hey, you know what am I going to do here? Because am I just going to sit on the vine and die? No, a good business owner is going to figure something out, is going to do something, is going to break away. And that's where the sales and marketing thing comes in as well.
What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Pat? You're going to
Goya.
Pivot. You're going to pivot.
Pivot. Yeah.
That's it.
No, I mean, you know, and Pat, I know you had to do that with your company. And I mean, I think that's part of, if we want to talk about this with the coaching, we want to talk about it with however, you know, but even having that peer network of guys you can reach out to and say, what the heck are we going to do at this point? You know, I mean, what's working for you? What's not working for you? I know that us during that period, our commercial, then the next year, our commercial went absolutely crazy. And people and our commercial guys were and we had the contracts too, Doug, where we're like, you know, our hospitals and our medical facilities. And it was at that point, then it was like, well, make it smell extra bleachy whenever you come out and you wash.
Get rid of the Apple wash just so that
exactly. We don't want to smell like apple. We want to smell like bleach.
Yeah, we want it to smell sanitized.
Yeah, you know, and but again, this is just part of it. We've got to change. We've got to literally pivot, for lack of a better term.
So what are you doing racing wise now? Yeah, I mean, you haven't broke anything in like 2 weeks or so. So
I know, man, it's a record. It's a record. No, we haven't. So I haven't done anything actually this year. It's been crazy, kind of go.
I thought I saw you doing some motorcycle stuff this year.
Oh, you might have seen like the test and tune days on Thursdays.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I was testing out my buddy's bike. We were tuning it in. So I do that on Thursdays when I'm in town, and then we'll race down at the dragway.
Oh, fun stuff.
So Pat, are y'all are your precision still out there slinging flyers?
Yeah, to be honest with you, not as much. They've been doing a lot of EDDM. Direct mail has been really good because a lot of people are holding off. They're doing like Google, and a lot of people are doing the internet stuff, and the internet stuff isn't working as much right now. Right. And so to the mailbox, people are holding off on the mailbox. It's expensive, don't get me wrong, but you have to have the marketing stamina. And so
Right.
we started that early on, and then we built it through EDDM and then slowly to direct marketing because that's more expensive. But
well, it's consistency. I mean, when you say stamina, let's also say consistency
Right.
on there too, right?
Right.
And
So what are you guys doing to track what's working where?
Yeah, so we have tracking numbers on different things, right? So like we're doing a lot of things right now, like Money Mailer, Valpak, and we have different tracking numbers on there. And so we run a report every month, and then we vet each one of our marketing sources, and then we see how much the average ticket is per marketing source, whether it's yard sign, clip flyer, Google, whatever it is. We want to know what our average ticket is for that lead source, right? Because they could be coupon clippers and they're, Money Mailer, for instance, right? And they're low tickets, 200, 500 bucks, whatever.
Right.
We want to kick that out. And so every month we vet the marketing to see if it's over our certain threshold for that marketing source, depending on what's going on, right? Because everything works together. So it's not one thing that works, it's everything that works together. They always say, like, I think now is they got to see you 7 times before they call. Which it gets more and more every year. You know what I mean? It used to be 3, then it went to 5.
It used to be 3,
Right.
5,
Yeah, it used to be 3 exposures every 30 days, and you actually had some brand or mind ownership on it, or TOMA, top of mind awareness. That was it. And think about
I haven't heard that term in years.
TOMA.
It's still true, top of mind awareness. But think about this though. That's where we run into a problem as small businesses, because there's so many more places to get messaging right now. I mean, log on to Facebook and you're going to catch it. If you scroll up Facebook a couple of flicks, you're going to see at least 6 different ads on there.
Right.
If you go to any website, you're going to see 5 or 6 different ads in the right-hand gutter, in the left-hand gutter, on the bottom gutter on there. Billboards. Think about your average billboard. When's the last time you saw just a good old-fashioned regular billboard that wasn't either a digital billboard that rotated every 45 seconds or one of those 4-way billboards that physically, spun around? You really don't see many Precision Pro Wash or Cajun Soft Wash static billboard that's just going to stand there anymore.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with messages just literally all the time. So we're, as a consumer, consumers are getting hit a lot more.
Oh, yeah. And go ahead, Doug.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, we're being desensitized.
Yes,
you know what I mean? To what's going on. And I think so with AI and all this stuff coming in, we're having this big truth bomb going on with what is truth and what isn't. You know what I mean? With video, is it that person, right? What are these ads? Are they just trying to scam me to get them to buy? Is 50% really off? Whatever it is, right? And so we got all this going on. And I was just listening to this podcast, and the guy was talking about how if you watch the news in the morning, like if you have a routine and you're watching the news in the morning, you're 27% more likely to be angry in the afternoon.
Oh, wow.
And this is crazy because he studies the brains. And so I think this is interesting because when you have that going on, right, and you have all this in your face marketing or whatever it may be, you have to then look as a business, right? How are we marketing to our customers?
Right.
Is it effective, or is it just being, under the radar, gone? And so we really have to look at how we're marketing this day and age to our customers. And this goes back to how we're vetting our marketing, how we're tracking our marketing, right? With the phone numbers, the ads, the different copy. Like, it's got to be, the message has to be there. And that's what I talk about a lot of times on our flyers and our print ad is message over brand, right? The message has to be there, but you have to know your customer too.
True.
What are the ticking points? And so throughout from when they call our CSR to our sales rep showing up, we ask specific questions. And we'll talk about this in a little bit, but you have to be asking a lot of questions to find out what their ticking points are. And you'll start to see a pattern, right? Humans are driven by, like, I forget the word, but we're like creatures of habit. Right.
Right. Definitely.
And so It changes though year to year. If you were marketing the way you were 2-3 years ago, is not the way we're marketing now. It's definitely changed.
And just so natural about what so many of us do, Pat. It's a show up and throw up kind of thing, and that's one of the biggest failings that I see with so many guys in this industry in general is they don't. The old saying, God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But and I get it. We're very proud of what we do, but we don't actually listen to what the customer wants. We don't care what the customer, and every customer is a little bit different now. Maybe a customer is concerned about bleach. Well, we know that's dumb. We know that bleach is going to be the best, but if it's a concern of the customer, then what do we need to do? We need to educate them about bleach. We need to talk to them about, hey, here's what's going on. Maybe the customer's confused about soft wash, but we really need to, like you're saying, you're asking these questions, you're asking these probing questions. This is where the guys who, I swear, just give Google bids out there. And I guarantee you there's somebody listening right now going, well, I give 95% of my bids on Google or all my bids on Google out there. That's going to be the difference, though, of getting a great customer and just doing something for $99 out there. It's understanding your customer and building that relationship and getting out there and walking, the property with them. And
I'm curious what each of you guys thinks as well about, before it used to be that how long did you have to grab a customer's attention, right? And so nowadays, what do you guys, I know what my thoughts are, to grab the customer's attention. How long do you think we have nowadays versus the way it used to be?
A lot less time.
A lot less.
Give me a number. Give me a number. What do you think?
So I've kind of tracked it to see like different marketing sources. There's different times for different marketing sources, right? Depending on where they are. So like if you're talking about your traditional yard sign, your clip flyer, those kinds of things, like you literally have probably 30 seconds, maybe less than that now, right? Because you have so many, you got TikTok, you got all these ads, and they're like boom, 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 boom. So what's grabbing them right then and there, right? Anything less than 30 seconds is fast.
Right.
And so with your print stuff, it has to be a need. And like, I keep going back to this movie and I got to remember the name of it, but they basically had a bet going on. And it was with Will Smith, and Will Smith was the main actor in it. And this guy was like, he knew he was going to do this bet. It was at a casino, right? And so he knew this like for a week. And so he planted the number 44, and he planted this gentleman on all the billboards. He paid for like buses. He paid for the bench, like marketing. And he was driving this message into this guy. He knew where he went. He knew what restaurant he went to. He knew everything about this guy, right? He tracked him. And everywhere he did, like on the placemats, on the coasters, like subliminal messaging, right, was in the background somewhere. And so he basically goes up to the guy, and the guy's like, all right, $1 million is on the line. I bet you can't think of the number and the person. If I look out on the field right now, you can't pick the person. And Will's like, I'll do you one better. He said, and he went to his girlfriend, and he said, you pick the guy out. And she was there too, right, when he was doing all this. And basically, he picked out the number 44, and he picked out that guy that was in all the messaging. And basically, it showed you afterwards. We're like, how did he pick out the number and the guy? Like, how would you do that, right? And then it showed you afterwards in the movie, it was on the bus. It was like over here, it was the guy riding the bike, like looked just like this guy. And they put him all over for a whole week or maybe 2. And he made the guy choose that number, and he made the guy choose that person. So you see what I'm saying? What's this? Why is Pat the only one who's isn't gray? So I'm not going to take my hat off, but I'm getting gray.
Well, you got 10 years. How old are you, Pat? Have you hit 40 yet?
Not yet. I'm 30.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I won't say.
Mm-hmm. Yep. There you go. Well, come on up to 53. You'll get it. So
listen. Both of you children just need to just be quiet. That's it. And let's just leave it.
You got better hair than me. I don't want to hear it. So
yeah, I think in today's day and age, I mean, with a lot of it, yard signs aside, truck signs aside, that kind of thing. But internet wise, I mean, I think you have under 3 seconds to grab.
Hunter, I mean, how long does it take you to literally, do this right? I mean, because that's you had better grab somebody.
That's why you have to find something different and out of the ordinary that actually will grab somebody's attention. And if it's something that they want or need, you're going to have a lot easier time getting a hold of them. So, when you look at it and you say, well, do they need their house washed? Do they want their house washed? Do they know that they want that kind of thing? You have to find some different way of grabbing them. Do they know they want Christmas lights?
But you better tell them what they need, or that you better hit them with what they need.
Absolutely.
And Pat, you made the comment. I apologize for getting up. I'm actually getting up to grab something here. Back in over in my marketing file, but you mentioned the numbers for tracking on that. And for guys that don't understand this, you realize if you're with a professional marketing source on there, you could go into Valpak and say the phone number is 850-555-1212 for this coupon. And it can be 850-555-1213 for this coupon and this message. And you could send something out there just to the same people, but seeing which messaging works better. Do people care about time savings? Do they care about value pricing? Do they care about them not having to work as hard? What's important to people? And you can really hone in on your message on that. Could you speak to that, Pat?
Yeah, no. Well, I want to reverse a little bit, because you have to build trust. It all comes down to trust. And how do you build trust in your marketing, right? You have to, like you said, you have to be consistent with your marketing. But not only that, you have to bring value. Trust comes with value. Like if you give me value, you're like, hey, by the way, winter's coming, cover up your spigots, right? Like, hey, what's some educational stuff that you can do on social media that's like, you're hitting them with the boots on the ground stuff. You're hitting them with the yard signs, the truck signing, all that stuff. But then they get to a social media thing and they're like, wait, hold on. Precision Pro Wash says I got to do this in the wintertime. I'm building trust with them. And then when it comes time to buy, who's going to be there, right?
That's something we've said for a long, long time, right? Like we always talk about this on commercial properties, especially. Like sometimes people say, well, how do I get in with this particular, HOA, or how do I get in with this particular bank, or how do I get in with this particular? Look, you don't go in with a sales call every single time and doing that.
Go in with a help.
Maybe your first contact with them is, hey, did you know your sign out front is broken? Hey, did you see this? Hey, did you see that? Did you know about this? Did you know about that? These kinds of things. Hey, I saw, one of your trucks going down the road the other day, and the driver was super respectful. I was just wanted to give you a little bit of praise over that. You share a different message other than a sales message, because guess what? Your signature is there. They're going to see it. And, it's going to stick in the back of their brain, and you're building that trust with them.
One of the greatest ones that ever worked for us was, we understand you probably have a relationship with a pressure washing company. But understand that in case they ever get busy, we'd love to be your backup. We'd love to, in case they can't get to an emergency. I don't want to take their job away from them, but we'd love to be considered just simply a backup to them if possible, and not going in there. This is where people show up and they want to sell. They don't want to meet the needs of the people. They don't want it. They show up and they throw up,
Yeah. Huge. I love that, because it's going in with a different message, and that you're genuine. You know what I mean? Not just every other salesperson that walks in their door. Hey, I can do this for you. How can you add value to them?
Well, and that's the key point there. When you look at it and you say, if you go in and, like, as a great example, Ray and I have talked about this in the past, where, you go to some of our customers and, Ray says, a guy walks in there and he sees the manager behind the desk and he's drinking out of a spray wash mug, and he's writing with a spray wash pen, and he's rubbing his mouse on a spray wash thing, and then he's putting his coffee down on a spray wash coaster, and he's using spray wash notepads. You're not gonna, there's nothing you can do there. So talking trash about spray wash isn't going to do you any good.
That's
But
right.
hey, if you ever need somebody extra as a backup, just like you said, now you're doing a completely different message than everybody else is doing, and you're not hounding the guy. It's value time.
Yep.
Like, I don't know if you put that up there, it's kind of like the 50-mile-an-hour test on vehicle reps. If you have that long to grab their attention, 100%. I mean, I see these so complex, graphics out there, and that's one of those things that's brand over messaging over brand. What do you want to put on your vehicle out there? Do you want to put messaging, or do you want to put brand? And especially if your brand isn't okay. Spray, I'll be real proud here, but Spray Wash was a great brand because it kind of said what we did. And I was one of the first people to ever use the term spray wash out there. I was kind of proud of coining that term. Maybe I wasn't the first, but that said what we did. So that was kind of message / branding together. But if you're, I don't know, DuraGuard, no, and I think that's actually Nick Smith's, but one of these Precision Pro Wash makes sense.
Cajun Soft Wash makes sense.
Cajun Soft Wash makes sense because the name is there. But I can think of all these other companies that the name doesn't actually say what they're doing, and they've got this incredible logo, and you can't even tell what the heck it is, but they're so worried about pushing their brand. But if their brand is driving by, you can't actually tell what their brand is. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it took a while for Nike to have that logo, or McDonald's to have that logo, to where it's brand recognition. And if that's your goal and that's your plan, then that works out. But you just have to know that it's going to take a long time to get there doing it that way. We've had that conversation with so many people where, well, let's talk about Eric and Lisa. You remember what their name used to be?
Oh my God, who was
I think it? It was A&E.
A&E, yeah.
That's and right. Then they moved to Liberty Soft Wash, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, Liberty, the area, and then Soft Wash. I mean, it completely transformed their company by making that, whole distinction, that whole change, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and that's it.
There was somebody else that did that same thing. Go ahead, Pat. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say with the vehicle wraps, it's the messaging, but it all has to be the same too. I've seen it where their trucks say one thing, their flyers say another, and then their brochure, like it's not consistent, right, all the way through, and that's key, especially nowadays, right? Is like that brand recognition. So when they see an ad, online, and then they see you, going down the road, it's all gotta live together in the same ecosystem.
I mean, that's why, this is one of the first flyers that I ever did. But on the back of my trucks, on all of the main part of my website, those two pictures right there, I even went and trademarked those pictures. I have a trademark on that because they became part of it. It was on every tailgate that we had on there. It was on every print ad. It was on the header of the website out there. That before and after picture, on there made it so consistent. That and the logo.
Well, that's what grabs people too, is that if they see some, even they catch it subliminally, right? So if you, again, going as the example that if you had your coffee mug that you gave them, right, and they're so used to seeing that logo, and then all of a sudden they're not even paying attention, they happen to see the truck go by, their head's going to turn, they're going to look, because subliminally it's going to catch them. So that's kind of the point in all of those little marketing pieces, is to be able to continue to capture and grab them. That's why it has to be a consistent brand every time.
Yeah.
Which is really weird. TJ saying his wife is a marketing professional. When we started the business, she chose the name, location, and service made for easy marketing, North Texas power washing, which is really weird because he's actually in Arizona. And no, I'm kidding. It's in southern Arizona, so I mean, it might be a little disconnect there.
That's funny.
That one went over my head, Ray. I got to tell you.
Keep it simple, stupid. Catchy, sticks in their head. At least it works for Mr. Mister. Yeah, absolutely.
Grace is going to hit you.
James, what if you put the logo and name upside down in your trucks? I mean, hey, it may make people. Why do we put stuff in pink? In October for breast cancer awareness. I mean, you tend to notice it.
People always ask me why I put the reels on the wrong side of my truck. That used to be something people would say to me all the time. I used to catch so much grief over, man, you put the reels on the wrong side of your truck. I'm like, really? Yeah, you're missing the entire point. I got to park the wrong way on the road. That's who you notice. You don't notice all the back ends of all the cars and trucks that you're passing, but that one truck that's parked the wrong way, you notice.
Yeah.
So, that's why I did it that way.
There it is. Yeah. Tommy Mello did that. He did that with all his billboards. He put them upside down.
Yeah.
So it's curiosity killed the cat. And it was funny because he did it. And then one of my coaching clients, he did it to his yard signs, and he was getting like the towns where, get on his case or whatever. He would put out a lot, 1,000 yard signs a month. Right. And the town would get on him. He would be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, have you seen my yard signs? They're all upside down. I don't know what is going on. And the town left him alone. Thought somebody was messing with him, but it was actually him doing it.
Yeah.
But if you look back though at all, I'm trying to think of all my marketing for precision, right? It's the message has always stayed the same. Like the colors had changed. We do 4 different flyers a year, you know what I mean, throughout the seasons. And we've changed up the discounts throughout the season, right? But the message has always been the same. Our core beliefs has always been the same, right? And people know us that. When I used to do Purple Tuna Teas, he's been with us for 16 years or something like that. We've serviced his house from the very beginning. And it's pretty cool because he's been there through the whole thing too. And your customers buy because of your story. And everybody on here has a story of some sort, how they got into business, whatever it may be. You need to put that stuff in your marketing on your website, right? Because I have customers call me, if something happens, my team messes up or we killed a bush, and then they call and they're like, hey, Pat, I just want to let you know what's going on. I said, look, I'm going to make a phone call. We're going to, no matter what, we fix it. We do what we say we're going to do.
We're going to take care of it.
Yeah. And he's like, I know why you're so successful. He's like, I read your story on your website. And I was like, holy cow. So the customers who really care are the ones who read the story, who buy from who they like and trust, and they do their homework on it.
Oh, say that again. People buy from who?
Yeah. Whom they like and trust.
No, well, I always said no, like, and trust,
People they know, people they like, and people they trust. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are getting, so look, even the message that you're putting on your Facebook or not on your website that tells your story, the first thing that's doing is that's getting to know them, or they're getting to know you. So they buy from people they know, and they know you because of the story that you've put on your website.
Which
and
is
then that helps them
thing.
to like you. Especially if they can resonate with it, and then that's how you're also building trust with them. I think videos as well, having that heart to heart, video with them is a very helpful tool in making that connection, making them like you, know you, and trust you.
Yeah. That's one of the nice things about a website too, is, you can go in there 2, 3, 4 pages about yourself and telling your story and not necessarily make it boring, whenever you do that. But people love, and and I want to point something out here too. When we talk about people that buy on our story kind of things, that tends to be the customer that's actually the good customer out there, not that $99 customer. That $99 customer is buying on price. Yeah. And I'm not saying, I'll tell you what.
It's a good marketing ploy for some.
I have been joking here at Power Wash Store and telling guys are like, well, what are you going to do whenever you're done with Power Wash Store? I said, I'm going to start a $99 guy. I'm going to say, and they joke like, oh yeah. I said, no, I could go out and kick all your butts. And I still have another year left on my no compete, so I couldn't, but I could kick all your butts by being a $99 guy. I said, yeah, I could be $100 pressure washing and logo a truck on that. And seriously, because it's not $100 price point, you're catching a cheap consumer and you're going to get that person on there. Mm-hmm. It's not what I would like to do. It's not what I would want to do, but there's certainly, everybody's got a place in the food chain. And Pat, we've said this whenever you and I have taught together. We always preferred to be up here in the food chain, not down here in the food chain. Mm-hmm. But going back to what I was saying, though, the people that spend the good money, the people that care about you, the people that are going to be loyal want to know your story. The $99 people, they don't really care about your story. They don't care about you at all. They care about the price on there.
And a lot of times you don't see those people coming back.
Correct.
Year after year, right? They're like, no, found somebody cheaper. And you're like,
they found the $98 guy.
I'll do it for $89.
Right,
yeah.
Right,
and that's where you get in that trap. And it's like, no, I don't even hear any of those numbers anymore, right? Yep. Like they just don't exist in our world because we created that.
James, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you always.
Yeah, James is the man.
Yes. Consistent.
I'll even go this direction. Sometimes when we get phone calls about, hey, my business is or I can't I'm not able to pick up business, what's my issue? What's going on? And I'll even ask, well, why don't you give me your web address? Let me look at your web presence. Well, I don't have a website. I'm like, how long have you been doing this? Well, I've been doing it for 2 or 3 years. And I'm like, and you don't have a website yet. No, I don't really see the need for it. I don't see the need for it. And I'm like, you don't see the need for the website, but I mean, because it's super cheap to have one. I mean, number one, but you don't see the point to have a website, but you don't have any business. And you don't see a point to have a web. So because though a website might just seem like it's just sitting there, it is. It's part of that entire story that even though nowadays we're in the day of TikTok and YouTube and whatever else I'm too old to know about, the fact of the matter is people still look at websites and it brings in and a little bit of legitimacy to your company, just having a website, even if they don't want to necessarily look at it kind of a thing. It just add who doesn't have a website kind of a thing or a web presence.
Yeah. And I think people, like they've been doing this for a long time, but they were doing it as a side hustle. They weren't taking it as serious. Right. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they didn't know. Like I know for me, I didn't know how to run a business in the very beginning. I was like, sure, I can throw some flyers out. I can, make a customer happy.
I mean, I hate to say it, Pat, what's happening. I mean, I've actually had like 3 of them pop up here on my sidebar since I've been on. Mm-hmm. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are out there telling people you can make $300 an hour pressure washing out there, and people watch these stupid YouTube videos going, oh, I can make all this money, but then they don't actually watch the rest of it. They don't go the rest of the way into it, that you need to actually build a business there. And they call it building a business. You're not going to be successful overnight. I mean, you've got to build it stone by stone by stone by stone. You've got to build it from the ground up. My big question is, yeah, you can make $300 an hour, but what happens after you wash your mom's house, your aunt's house, and your sister's house? Where's the next 172 customers coming from? Because that's what you're going to need to do out there, so it's really, people forget about that, in this thing. And it's not just as easy as, so what we're seeing right now, and I have this unique position in my life as a power wash store owner. I get to talk to contractors day in, day out. I'm now seeing, especially with the newer guys coming in, and it really, and Pat, we said this, Doug, we said this, old guys in this industry, and Pat, you're welcome to the old guy club, even though you're such a youngin'. But we said this 5 years ago that it's going to become landscaping. Remember, did y'all remember hearing it? It's going to become the landscaping.
Just like landscaping.
And guys, I'm seeing it, I promise you, on a daily basis where, well, if I can't do this job for $149, then I'm going to go to $139. I can't do it for $139. I'm going to go to $129. And what they're doing is they're just dropping the value on, instead of keeping the value up and explaining why they're better.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you're not my customer. They keep trying to get every customer in there and find the price point that the customer's willing to pay. And it is totally crashing. It is crashing. Now there's some old school guys in this that are still doing very well, but I'm seeing the price points just get crashed in this industry.
Well, they got another thing coming, because the way prices are going up, SH is going up, all are going through the roof. And so they are shooting themselves in the foot. You know what I mean? And yeah, we're seeing it. Like, customers like, we can get it done cheaper, and that's fine. They can go there.
Yep.
They might be able to do it this year, but I guarantee you're not going to do it next year, because those folks are not going to be here.
And you know what James is saying is 100% right. The problem with the $99 guy, it's almost like the $89 carpet cleaning guys. Once they get your foot in the door, they scare you, upsell everything. By the time you get done, you pay $500. In a few days, you have buyer's remorse, never use them again. Don't be that guy. I 100% agree with you. It's a business model. It's not one that I like. Hell, there's somebody out there pushing literally that franchise model right now. There's a website, the $99 guy. He also builds skids. I was kind of surprised to see somebody doing that. There was a big debate in one of the forums the other day about it. I was kind of shocked at who it was. I wouldn't have thought that from them. And yeah, like, I've never called Stanley Steamer for a $49 carpet cleaning job and paid $49.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I never ever got out the door for $49.
Just like the landscape business, though, I'll say this. I mean, in the landscape business, hold on, this is the security going off at my building.
Okay,
I'm gonna duck. Hold on.
All right, no worries. So TJ is saying oversaturation by non-professionals, 100%. And yeah, it's already happened on there.
But you just got to combat it. You know what I mean? Like, have a better presentation that combats, not bashing nobody, but educating the public on what's going on. Like, whenever something goes up in our company, that goes right into our price sheet on Monday. You know what I mean? Like, if SH goes up another 10 cents, goes in our price sheet on Monday. Yeah. Because that's ultimately coming out of the profit, right? The EBITDA of your company at the end of the day. And so, yeah.
And it's a hard cost, not even as a speculative cost, Pat. I mean, that's a hard cost that I can say, okay, it costs me.
I got it zipped, guys.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Pat. All right, man.
See, Doug. It's not even a speculative cost going, that might go up. No, it costs me $100 to fill up on Monday with bleach. It costs me $120 to fill up Tuesday with bleach.
Yeah.
Yep. Big difference,
Exactly. Yeah, no, it all goes up, especially, with holiday lights, right? If you're doing that, you have a lot of cost up front. You better know what you're talking about, and you better know when to get it too, because people lose their butts in holiday lights because you got a hard cost there and it's expensive.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of people, these people work for customers, not clients. Customers are a one-time transaction, quick and dirty. Client, bingo, 100%. Client you build a lifetime relationship with for returning business.
That's right.
That's why I wound up selling my company for what I sold it for, because I had a client base, not a customer base.
Yeah.
I had people that I had washed for 10, 12 times. I had people that I washed for literally since I started spray wash back in 2009. Pat, I'm sure you're the same way with Precision, people
Yep.
that you've worked with once, twice a year since you began, and then not to mention the commercial base that absolutely loved us.
Yeah. Yep. And still do, man. Yeah.
Another great one. I thought of whenever Doug said you were coming on, I want to almost say it was Grant Cardone or one of those guys out there, but a great quote that I heard one time was, "Nothing happens until a sale is made." And I know I'm paraphrasing that, but we can have the greatest equipment in the world. We can have the greatest marketing plan in the world. We can have the highest and best trained technicians in the world. And we can have the most knowledge in the world. But until an actual sale is made, none of that really goes into,
Yeah.
Yeah,
in emotion.
You got a great $60,000 shiny truck sitting there in the garage that doesn't have any bleach stains on it because you haven't sold anything yet.
Yeah. Yep. We are a marketing and sales company that just happens to do whatever it is, right?
Bingo. And then I want to also I want to do the little flip-floppy on that though.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times people, and this, think about this if you're first starting off. A lot of times people use that marketing part as a crutch.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is I can't get out and do this. I've got to have a flyer like this before I can get out and market. I can't go out and market myself without if I don't have this brochure right here.
Yeah.
I can't go out and market myself. Well, you know what? If I don't have a door hanger, I can't go out and market myself. Bullcrap. Yes, you can. We live in a digital day and age that if you were to call Keith, KBK out there, you could probably have these within a week if you wanted to. You know what? You didn't have to use my picture here, my picture here. All of my, I told you that picture was consistent. Oh, there it is again, right there on that brochure. He's got stock photos that you can do out there. Mm-hmm. You can self-produce something if you wanted to. Don't get to the point to where you have to, I can't go out there unless I have that. Tanya and I recently started the new business with the Tiki's franchise. We're now selling the Hawaiian shaved ice. And Tanya's like, I need this and I need that. And I looked at Tanya one day and I said, no, you don't, Tanya. I said, you need you.
Yeah.
You need you. It's what you need. And she's like, you're right. You know what? I don't need a flyer about what. Now we have the flyer since then. We have it. Well, now that a couple of months have passed, but that initial July 4th, whenever we did our first event, and then she started going out to schools and knocking on doors. I was like, you really don't need that stuff because you're the salesperson. You're amazing. All you really need is a business card and your personality.
That's right. Yep. Be genuine. Get out there. Talk to people. That's it.
Bingo.
That's it. I love it.
That's the truth. Hold on. Let's see what Mr. Anthony said. One of my daily goals is to pass out 2 business cards no matter what. And I've even stand at the door of Walmart and ask people if I can tell them about my business.
There you go.
He's a good guy. I am blessed to count him as a friend. He's one of my local people.
That's awesome.
Hey, Chad, son, hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
So, Pat, my friend, thank you so much. I so appreciate your time, and as usual, I don't want to keep you past that hour. And you have sure got the hustle out there. I'm a better person for knowing you.
Well, I really appreciate that. And likewise, man, like it's been awesome. It's been a crazy ride. You know what I mean? But you stay with it and you never know what happens.
Yeah, I mean, what we met each other, what is 2023? We were right 2010 or so, 2010 or 2011. And
Yep.
who would have hey TJ, we love you too, buddy. Who would have thought, that 12 years down the road, this would be here, I mean, either one of us would be in where we are at this point. And it's kind of crazy.
It really is.
And I sure am proud of you. And you should be like I said, you're an inspiration to everybody in this business.
I really appreciate that. It means a lot. It's been a lot. It's been hard. Don't get me wrong.
Oh no.
As you know.
Everybody just sits there and sees you just smiling and saying, "Hey guys, Pat Clark just killing it here," but they don't know that Pat Clark isn't always killing it,
That's right. Yep. We all go through those days. It's
Hey,
just
Steve Button.
making it happen. Dude, Steve Button in the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
Yeah.
He was awesome.
Steve's one of those guys, old school, hardcore. You don't see Steve out that much anymore, but man, what a great guy.
He's making it happen.
I'll know whenever I am truly successful when I can afford to like pay Steve Button just to read bedtime stories to me, with that accent. Just
I know it. I love to hear him talk.
amazing. Well, buddy, I hope you stay warm up there in cold old Connecticut. And I know you got some exciting, interesting things coming down the pipe, and I want you to share it with our audience here. First of all, whenever please give us dibs on that whenever it's time to release the Kraken.
I will. Right. For sure. Thanks, Ray.
Well, Pat, thank you again, sir.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you. I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to end this. Just hang out 2 shakes.
Okay.